Shalom, Kal Halal Yahweh Bashim Yahushua Bahashim Wadash. Double honors to the elder apostles and the elder bishops of GMS, even the elders that came before them that taught us his truth. Shalom and salutations to all the brothers out pushing the word in truth and in sincerity, the hopeful elect tabernacle of David. The Aqua that are listen, learn, and being a pillar of rest, the 144,000 and one third, the hopeful elect. All right, so I'm gonna get straight to this guy. This is clearly an Israelite, but he appears to be a JOO. Okay, but the way he talks, he's let's get to this. Psalm 64 and 8. So shall they make their own tongue to fall upon themselves. All that see them shall flee away. Max Blumenthal here is saying a whole lot, right? He's one of them, okay? Napolitano could be Greek. He could be, that's a Jake. That's an Italian. Napolitano. Oh, Andy. Andy from the hood became a judge like Joe Brown, okay? This guy's a Jew. He knows it, but he's unsatisfied, right? Leading you to look closer at his spirit. That's probably a Jake. Listen to what he's saying, because he's saying a whole lot. We're going to let him talk. I'm going to get a couple of precepts, and that'll be it. All right, take it away. All right, let me set this up. This is free, what do you call it? Fair use. Fair use. All right, Max Blumenthal. That's this guy. Trump's neocon. So basically who he's surrounding himself with right now. But the way this guy is putting everything together, he's giving you insight into what's going on. From the insight of what appears to be an Edomite, but the way he's moving, you can see that he's a Jake. So anyway, let me see, what are they saying? Right. Yeah, so look at his name. That's a JOO, Blumenthal. What is that? Am I wrong? Could be. Take it away, Judge. So we're at the 21-minute mark. Take it away.
With him for 10 years, so I would have to ask you, but it looks like Trump just continues to recruit from the Fox News green room and not from any professional positions. I mean, that's where he found John Bolton, by the way.
Right.
Just watching Fox. How did that work out for Trump?
Right.
Hegseth, I mean, he's obviously there because he's a loyalist.
Okay, now this guy Hegseth that they're speaking about, right, who just popped up. Now there's a lot of people that Trump is cobbling together, if you will, right? And this guy Hegseth is one, and this is what happened last time. When he won, Bannon, right? Steve Bannon, he had a bunch of kooks coming, just come out of nowhere, right? So let's just keep an eye. This guy Hegseth, they're going to talk about him, and he's going to be the gateway for him to expound upon some shit that's going on that you don't normally hear about. So take it away, Max.
Trump wants to take on the woke generals.
Salaki, I'm going to take it back just a hair so he can say that this guy Hegseth's name. All right, let's see.
Or know of.
Well, you worked with him for 10 years, so I would have to.
No, they're talking about Hegseth, so I didn't take it back far enough. So apparently the judge worked with him for 10 years. So they know the guy. Keep that in mind.
Worse than what we have now. We haven't even gotten to Pete Hegseth yet, with whom I also worked at Fox for 10 years. So Ambassador Charles Freeman says the job requires strategic reasoning, management skills, empathy, and the ability to articulate a policy. He can articulate a policy as long as it has to do with killing. But in terms of strategic reasoning and management skills and empathy, where is that in the Hegseth that you know or know of?
Well, you worked with him for 10 years, so I would have to ask you, but it looks like Trump just continues to recruit from the Fox News green room and not from any professional positions. I mean, that's where he found John Bolton, by the way.
Right.
Just watching Fox. How did that work out for Trump?
Right.
Hegseth, I mean, he's obviously there because he's a loyalist. Trump wants to take on the woke generals. He considers the Pentagon brass and the people around him consider the Pentagon brass to be an impediment to the America First agenda. We're going to see the culture war that Tommy Tuberville waged with the quote-unquote woke generals play out to a much greater degree if Hegseth manages to be confirmed. And in some ways, it'll be kind of fun. It'll be time to take out the popcorn and watch the military-industrial complex eat itself alive. I don't have any sympathy for those generals. They are extremely political. And they use diversity politics as a cover for a militaristic agenda. So I can't sympathize with them. But Hegseth appears to be a complete clown who's not just unqualified, but compromised by a foreign entity that is currently committing genocide. And we know which entity that is.
Right.
Oh, look at that. He was just about to say who it was. This is crazy. Okay, so I gotta let this Salakia. I apologize. That's crazy. Now, those are very, very strong words. See, before I even play it, maybe that's the Spirit saying, don't play it, right? Because you know who he's talking about. He said, and that's the I word. I-Z, right? Is he a real one, right? Talking about those J-double-O. Well, I got to let him say it now that I've completely confused everybody. Let me shut up. Salakia, bear with me, please. Baba Kasha, Baba Kasha, Baba Kasha. Let me back that up.
They are extremely political. And they use diversity politics as a cover for a militaristic agenda. So I can't sympathize with them. But Hegseth appears to be a complete clown who's not just unqualified, but compromised by.
Now he goes into explaining what Trump is setting up, okay? And where he ends up with Netanyahu pulling the strings through Trump. Listen to where this goes.
Foreign entity that is currently committing genocide, and we know which entity that is.
Right.
Israel.
Hegseth actually on.
The judge tried to cut him off. And we know who that is. Max speaks straight from the gut, right? And he names names, right? And I believe he's a J-double-O, and he's going straight after him. And judge tried to cut him off, and this guy said it anyway. You got to catch things like that, okay? You got to see what the mood. The judge tried to, keep it copacetic, right? Listen to what's being said here, right? Because they go from this Hegseth guy who Trump is about to set up. Basically, what Blumenthal is saying is that Trump is setting up a whole cabinet of J-double-Os. That's what Max is saying, who is a J-double-O. Where do we start? This lesson started right here. Okay? He's telling us what is going on. Psalm 64 and 8. He's got some inside information. So shall they make their own tongue to fall upon themselves. All that see them shall flee away. So Max Blumenthal is one of them. He knows how they move and he knows what they're up to. He's got, he's working for a different faction. They're watching him, right? Really, when it all is said and done, they're compartmentalized. But
By
listen,
Adelson.
damn, right? Sheldon Adelson. You got to know who these names are, right? The people, the real movers and the shakers from behind the scenes with the money making things happen, handing out billions, all right, to make things happen. All right, anyway, listen close, and how it's going to go from Babylon the Great, and then it's going to go to the little Satan over there, right? The Israelis, who are actually running shit. Listen to what he's saying close.
Trump himself acknowledged in 2015 on Twitter, but also by Paul Singer, who is the ultimate never-Trumper neocon billionaire backer, and Marco Rubio, in complete contradiction of Donald Trump's supposed America First agenda, which includes hardening the border and building the wall. Marco Rubio was the Republican author of TPS, temporary protective status, for Venezuelans while he was seeking to destroy Venezuela's economy. This is the ultimate cynicism in politics. He forces, by supporting the destruction of a country's economy, a migration wave to the north. Then he compels the US government to welcome them all in without hardly any vetting process, leading to this Venezuelan migrant crisis in the United States. And he's doing it just to build up a domestic lobby for his regime change agenda. And he's being rewarded for this by Trump, who demagogued the Venezuelan migrant issue all the way to winning his election. I've never seen such levels of hypocrisy.
Max, this is a nightmare. This is worse than what we have now.
Okay, so that was just to let you know that he's in tune with what's going on. He has his own view, but he knows things on a level. And see, I mean, his level is not from above like ours is, but he knows things that are going on, as we say, on the ground. Okay? And he's divulging that. He's showing you how they're setting up or what it appears to be. Because again, they're compartmentalized and they're all working together whether they know it or not. Anyway, it's a lock in.
In turn, we haven't even gotten to Pete Hegseth yet.
Okay, so we're going to get to Pete Hegseth, and they're going to blow through him, which is dealing with Trump, which takes you straight to Bibi Netanyahu, and who's actually running the show and what is about to go on. This guy is divulging everything. So I'm going to shut the hell up and let it come out. Here we go.
With whom I also worked at Fox for 10 years. So Ambassador Charles Freeman says the job requires strategic reasoning, management skills, empathy, and the ability to articulate a policy. He can articulate a policy as long as it has to do with killing. But in terms of strategic reasoning and management skills and empathy, where is that in the Hegseth that you know or know of?
Well, you worked with him for 10 years, so I would have to ask you, but it looks like Trump just continues to recruit from the Fox News green room and not from any professional positions. I mean, that's where he found John Bolton, by the way.
Right.
Just watching Fox. How did that work out for Trump?
Right.
Hegseth, I mean, he's obviously there because he's a loyalist. Trump wants to take on the woke generals. He considers the Pentagon brass and the people around him consider the Pentagon brass to be an impediment to the America First agenda. We're going to see the culture war that Tommy Tuberville.
You hear him say, we're going to see. So he's basically prognosticating what he believes is going to happen from his informed opinion. And it's good to know these things, all right? Sirach 5 and 15.
Obviously there because he's a loyalist. Trump wants to take on the woke generals. He considers the Pentagon brass and the people around him consider the Pentagon brass to be an impediment to the America First agenda. We're going to see the culture war that Tommy Tuberville waged with the quote-unquote woke generals play out to a much greater degree if Hegseth manages to be confirmed. And in some ways it'll be kind of fun. You know, it would be time to take out the popcorn and watch the military-industrial complex eat itself alive. I don't have any sympathy for those generals. They are extremely political, and they use diversity politics as a cover for a militaristic agenda. So I can't sympathize with them. But Hegseth appears to be a complete clown who's unqualified, not just unqualified, but compromised by a foreign entity that is currently committing genocide. And we know which entity that is.
Right.
Israel.
Hegseth actually on air advised.
Let me say this real quick. If he's saying that Hegseth is compromised by the JOOs, then what is Trump? He's aligning a JOO cabinet is the point that is being made, right? So they're going to work in tandem. It's going to be seamless now. For whatever else was jumping off a minute ago, it was hung up a little bit. So we're about to see this thing take off, all right? Because here's what's going on, right? How does the world as we know it end? It ends with ICBMs. How quickly do we get there? Well, here's ground zero, Babylon the Great, right? They're involved in it. Who else is involved? Well, has to be Jerusalem. That's what the fight is about, supposedly. Now, the gold is another story, but everybody's eye, right, is on the Holy Land. That's where the fight is jumping off. So anyway, this is how much time we have left, all right? And here's the message. Well, what's your message? My message is this. Repent, right, and be converted while you still have time, because shit is about to, you see where it's going. All right, I'm going to let him talk a little more.
President Biden, not that Biden would take his advice, but this is what he believed in, to bomb cultural sites in Tehran.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
if one of the jobs of the Secretary of Defense is to...
Now, let me say this, okay? They went from this guy Hegseth, right? They blew straight by him to who his masters are. And now we're talking about the war and the end. And that's the spirit. Now, the point is watch how this guy moves. Of course, he doesn't understand what we know, that it's over. But watch how he moves anyway, because he's given up a lot of information anyway.
Inform the president of the natural and probable consequences of the president's bellicosity. This Secretary of Defense, if Hegseth is confirmed. If there is a confirmation, Trump wants his people in without a confirmation. Another story for another time. He's going to enhance Trump's bellicosity rather than warning him of the natural and probable consequences of it if it comes to pass.
Yeah, I mean, Hegseth represents the version of America First that was put forward by Lindsey Graham, which is just American force should be used promiscuously without any regard for international law or any institution or for blowback. And Hegseth was opposed.
And that's what Israel is over there doing right now. With the International Court of Justice or whatever, that apparently doesn't mean a damn thing. And Salakia, I didn't want to go, I just wanted to, show where this thing is going. And just a different, we understand that the thing is just going to escalate, right, to the missiles. But how? These are the steps right here, right? They have to create what is called the regional war, right? And that's what the least of the flock is hard at work doing, trying to draw everybody out and make them fight so that America will have to come in. America is like, we're not doing that, we're not doing it. They're going to be forced to, okay? They're about to go into, right, the soccer game, the hooligans, and how that plays into what's going on. Very, 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 very crucial. Now, I thought I was going to be able to bail out, but I forgot about that part. Here we go. I'm gonna just let it play. But listen to how all of this, because propaganda and control of the media, the witchcraft, the level of witchcraft is we're watching this from a knowing position, from information from above. So we know what's going on, but to be able to see it, he's going to tie in the hooligan incident, okay, to what's actually going on and the level of asymmetric warfare going on in World War III, which we're clearly in. If you don't understand that we're in World War III and that the court of public opinion is out there, right, being manipulated with certain phrases and catchwords, anti this, anti that, right? There's a mind F going on, which is part of World War III. Okay, World War III is dealing with computers, people online, right? Mind control, which has been perfected. They were working on mind control in World War II. Number one, MK Ultra. They were working on that in Nazi Germany in World War II. How far do you think that they've come now, as far as controlling people's minds? Okay, and that's what this is about. He's about to speak on the incident, the hooligan, the soccer or the football incident in Amsterdam, and he's going to tell you the level of psyop that it was. Okay, I'm going to shut up. Here we go.
First Trump administration heavily by another Fox News personality who had to be basically removed because he was too anti-war, Tucker Carlson, along with other figures, more traditional conservatives like Kurt Mills, on the issue of Iran because Hegseth wanted to march straight into war with Iran after the killing of Qasem Soleimani. Pete Hegseth, as I said, he's been compromised. He's been taken on propaganda trips through the occupied territories by the leading sponsor of violent settler activity, Ateret Kohanim. He was taken to occupied Hebron, where the most fanatical, violent settlers exist in a complete apartheid system, where there is this road actually marked Jew.
What he's explaining is how these politicians are bought off by the Israel lobby. Listen close.
Only Shahada Street, and he claimed while in Hebron that it was the Jewish settlers who were besieged, living under siege in a holy site. He sees everything in an upside down Christian Zionist compromised way, and he will be in charge of the Pentagon, which means that Netanyahu will be in charge of the Pentagon, and even more extreme elements like Itamar Ben-Gvir and Bezalel Smotrich. It will.
So he just connected this guy, Hegseth, directly to Bibi. See that? Listen close to what this guy said.
One of the most frightening times for U.S. national security, if you actually believe, as he doesn't, that the U.S. has different diverging interests from the apartheid state of Israel. And another is pro-Israel propaganda speech before one of these groups that apparently was paying him. Hegseth said that American and Zionist interests are absolutely intertwined, and that he suggested that he fought in the military so that his sons, Gunnar, Boone, and Rex, I don't know if they were, he had a naming competition with Sarah Palin, but so that they could actually fight on the front lines.
You should have named one of them Esau.
Israel. So this is how he sees the world, and I think this fundamentally
He said so that he named them that so that they could be on the front line. What did he say? Listen to this.
From the apartheid state of Israel. And another is pro-Israel propaganda speech before one of these groups that apparently was paying him. Hegseth said that American and Zionist interests are absolutely intertwined, and that he suggested that he fought in the military so that his sons, Gunnar, Boone, and Rex, I don't know if they were, he had a naming competition with Sarah Palin, but so that they they could actually fight on the front lines for Israel.
That was a little Jake humor there. Right? He slid it in.
So this is how he sees the world. And I think this fundamentally compromises or exposes what has always been there.
So lucky. I have to keep going because what he says coming up here is paramount, not tantamount. So
it exposes Israeli influence over the agencies, including the Defense Department.
I want to go to Belazil Smotrich, who made an extraordinary statement the other day, which I think Netanyahu agreed with, but not on tape. But you tell me what you think. Cut number 9.
I have instructed the Settlement Division in the Ministry of Defense and the Civil Administration to begin professional and comprehensive work to prepare the necessary infrastructure for applying sovereignty. In his first term, President Trump led dramatic steps, including affirming the legality and legitimacy of settlements in Judea and Samaria. Alongside this, there were the Abraham Accords, peace for peace. Those accords, a set of agreements facilitated by Trump's first administration, saw Israel normalize relations with 4 Arab nations. We were on the verge of applying sovereignty over the settlements in Judea and Samaria, and now the time has come to do so.
Does he have the authority to do this? Didn't he proclaim himself the Governor General of the West Bank, and Netanyahu didn't do anything to disturb that proclamation?
Yeah, he doesn't have the authority to do that. He's not fully in charge of the civil administration. Technically, that's the Israeli military, and he is a civilian figure, but the lines are blurred. It's nice of him to acknowledge that the Abraham Accords was a pathway towards Israel annexing the West Bank and completely dooming the Palestinians as a people, ending the whole question of Palestinian statehood. It helps explain why October 7th happened, why Yahya Sinwar launched that operation. And now we can see the Netanyahu coalition and its most extreme figures lifting or openly proclaiming their agenda as Trump names the most Israel first administration in American history.
Boom. That part. As Trump names the most Israel first administration in American history, that's what the whole thing is about. Trump's neocons. Okay. So this isn't really a Trump administration. It's a Israel first. Netanyahu take over the world. We can, he's about to explain. See, the Amsterdam incident is very, 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 very important, which we talked about in a couple of videos prior to this. All right, I was trying to explain it. This guy blew the lid off of it. I'm wondering if he's going to say it in these next 3 minutes, okay? All right, Salaki, here we go.
Lifting or openly proclaiming their agenda as Trump names the most Israel first administration in American history, which also includes his national security advisor, Mike Waltz, who's a former Cheney aide. So this goes hand in hand with Netanyahu naming Yisrael Katz as his new defense secretary. A minister of defense.
What he's saying, he's showing the alignment of the NW0 and what is happening, right? Because, see, prophecy is happening as these things are happening. And our job is to be able to see, right, and read these reports, right, and filter them through the scriptures of what's happening. We all know that Nero Caesar is about to get out. Why is he dealing directly with Bibi Netanyahu? Because that's where the action is. This is where the war is. This is where the end is. This is where the missiles are going. Ground zero is Babylon the Great, and where? Jerusalem, the land. Okay? And it's just what it is. So why are these guys aligning themselves? This nigga ain't even in office yet. What are they doing? They're projecting what is about to happen. So it's easy to see. All right, I'm going to let this Slovakia. There we go.
And Katz today suggested that Israel would begin laying plans for bombing Iranian nuclear sites, Iranian nuclear facilities, in his first ever meeting with the war cabinet.
There's a hit out on Trump from Iran. Can you see where it's real simple? Okay. Oh well, Katz, what's the guy Ben-Gvir that was fired? I believe as defense secretary. I believe his name was, if I'm not mistaken. I believe it was Ben-Gvir. He was fired, and now he's bringing in Katz. And the first thing, Katz ain't even sworn in yet. Katz says, we're going after Iran. Okay? Me and Donald Trump, who's not even sworn in yet, we're all going after Iran. Can you see what the hell is going on? It's pretty simple to see. All right?
This pick was announced on the day of Donald Trump's victory, partly to suppress media coverage of Netanyahu getting rid of his previous minister of defense.
Is that Ben-Gvir?
Also, because Netanyahu was so sure of a Trump victory. So this has all been prepared, and we're careening towards a major.
Did you hear that? He slipped it in. He said, this has all been prepared, meaning what he said before that was the Trump victory. Okay? He said Netanyahu waited for after the Trump victory to make that move. Slovakia. Did you hear that? And after he said, yeah, he waited until after the election or at that moment, right? Which shows that the whole thing is scripted. Listen to what he's saying.
Getting rid of his previous minister of defense, but also because Netanyahu was so sure of a Trump victory. So this has all been prepared, and we're careening towards a major regional war, a major military confrontation. And the only thing that seems like it will stop this agenda is the success of Iranian ballistic missiles.
Oh shit!
No matter.
Did you hear what he said? My goodness. Means escalation. It's the only thing that'll stop it.
Haaretz, before we conclude, Haaretz reported this morning that an Israeli court on the application of the Israeli prosecutor ordered Netanyahu to testify in one of his corruption cases the first week in December, and he's trying to get out of it for a variety of reasons, claiming national security. Honestly, Max, I thought those prosecutions were held in abeyance while he's the prime minister. If Haaretz is correct.
Okay, they're talking about where his trouble is coming from, which really has nothing to do. It's about him receiving gifts. So that's some political shit which happens. But let me see if he's going to speak on.
But he was giving Netanyahu lavish gifts.
Slovakia.
The prosecutor is still pushing. Then Netanyahu is going to do everything possible to keep these wars going. During time, and Judge Andrew Napolitano is going to moderate.
Looking forward to.
No. Okay, so what he said about the soccer game was very important.
Propaganda that they are the victims of
This is it. I got to get this in
there. By Muslim anti-Semites would actually.
This is just very, very important. His take on it. And I believe he said something about it the other day, but this is just.
But we have been able to detail meticulously at the Gray Zone is that over 100 hardcore veterans.
Woo! Listen to this. Listen, I'm going to start it at the head. Because what he's about to say about that incident is tantamount, Salakia. It's paramount. This, see, people, and it went right by. Listen to what he says happened.
2024. Max Blumenthal joins us now for his regular weekly time with us. Max, no matter what we talk about, it's always a pleasure to be able to interact with you.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Before we get to the designation of Pete Hegseth as Secretary of Defense and the likely designation of Marco Rubio,
Salakia, so I went backwards. I did the interview backwards. I didn't. Salakia. Here we go.
Ask you about Amsterdam. What is your understanding of what happened there? Because you know the one-sided version of it that we're all getting here.
Well, Israel is the little boy that cried pogrom once again, and we are witnessing one of the biggest media hoaxes since beheaded babies and babies baked in ovens on October 7th, and with the same objective, to justify Israel's existence as an ethno-supremacist state and to justify its genocidal policies.
Okay, I'm going to stop real quick. So, and that's why it was just given to me through the Spirit, why I did the piece on the whole Trump or Hegseth influence, right? Because whatever that hoax he's talking about, right? This is showing you, right, what is about to happen, all right? They're basically doing a blitz, right? If you understand, okay? When you understand who was responsible and who was leading the Nazis, right? Whoever was doing that is doing the same thing. It's the same thing. They're trying it again, right? They're trying it again. So listen to this guy.
Palestinians. The media, it's almost like they're mandated to lie about what happened.
Okay, so if you understand what happened in Amsterdam, okay, it was about a soccer match. What we call soccer, they call football, all right? And I've done like at least 2 or 3 videos because it's so important, right? And now the truth, the whole truth is coming out about it because this guy can see a psyop. And he's about to tell you that, all right? If I can shut up for a minute. He didn't tell you how the psyop worked. It's about some soccer match, but it's deeper than that. Because afterwards, after the whole fighting and all of that, Netanyahu's trying to send jets to go pick him up. That lets you know that it was a military operation. Okay, and he's going to explain that. Going back to the war. Okay, this is part of the larger war. And the war is a psyop. And the psyop is a war. Okay?
Media hoaxes since beheaded babies and babies baked on.
See, he's laughing at the JOOs. He's saying they're throwing out everything right now. He's laughing at them.
The little boy that cried pogrom once again.
See, if you understand what a pogrom is, right? He's clowning. He's coming straight out clowning his own folk, right? And the way he's doing it with a swagger, right? Letting me know that he's a jerk.
Well, Israel is the little boy that cried pogrom once again. And we are witnessing one of the biggest media hoaxes since beheaded babies and babies baked in ovens on October 7th. And with the same objective, to justify Israel's existence as an ethno-supremacist state and to justify its genocidal policies against Palestinians. The media, it's almost like they're mandated to lie about what happened and present fascistic hooligans who liberal-dominated media would
fascistic, fascists, stormtroopers, Nazis.
What happened and present fascistic hooligans who liberal-dominated media would never in any other situation defend as basically the modern incarnation of Anne Frank hiding in a hidden annex somewhere in Amsterdam from anti-Semitic truncheon-bearing thugs.
So what he said was they went out and started a whole bunch of shit in a whole different country and city, right? Then got checked, and then the whole media flipped it. The government flipped it, created a whole narrative that made them look like something wrong was done to them, and they slapped the word anti, you know what, on there. So this whole psyop, he's explaining the psyop. You have to understand how huge it was, because he's gonna get into the actual psyop part of it. So now I'm gonna let it play. I'm gonna shut the hell up.
Its genocidal policies against Palestinians. The media, it's almost like they're mandated to lie about what happened and present fascistic hooligans who a liberal-dominated media would never in any other situation defend as basically the modern incarnation of Anne Frank hiding in a hidden annex somewhere in Amsterdam from anti-Semitic truncheon-bearing thugs. What really happened and what we have been able to detail meticulously at the Gray Zone is that over 100 hardcore veterans of Israel's reservist forces and actually escorted by Mossad agents to Amsterdam.
Did you hear that? Okay. So, and I've been saying this in the last three, and Salaki, I stopped it again. The last three videos that I made, I've been saying that everybody, all citizens in Israel have to go through the military. So some of them were down there doing whatever's being done in the last year to those Palestinians. The genocide, some of those, right, have been down there and got that rage on them. Okay? I've been saying this. Now, he took it a step further and said, no, that's nothing but those people, right, that have that rage. And then he took it even a step further and said that the Israeli Mossad is conducting the whole operation. That's what he just said. Now, fair use. I don't know if any of this is true, fair use. I'm just saying, this is what this guy is saying. That's some remarkable shit. Listen closely what he just said.
Truncheon-bearing thugs. What really happened and what we have been able to detail meticulously at the Gray Zone is that over 100 hardcore veterans of Israel's reservist forces
that been fighting, okay, they sent an army down there, okay, and if that's not enough, he goes on to say the Israeli Mossad was there conducting the operation. Now, who is the Israeli Mossad? That's a higher level of their military, getting into the intelligence part, MI6 and CIA shit. Okay, listen again. Listen close to what he's saying.
Is that
he said what they have been able, his company have been able meticulously to prove, to find out. That's what they do. Okay? He's the editor-in-chief. Listen to what he's saying.
Over 100 hardcore veterans of Israel's reservist forces and actually escorted by Mossad agents to Amsterdam, rampaged through the streets of central and western Amsterdam, ripping down Palestinian flags, attacking people who were displaying any Palestine-oriented symbol, menacing bystanders, pouring beer on people, attacking private property the day before a match between Ajax, the local Amsterdam,
claiming the world. Okay? not the corner, nigga. You that's your corner. It's my corner now. No, this is my country now. Listen to what he said.
Football club and Maccabi Tel Aviv. These thugs are notorious in Israel for attacking anti-war protesters, Palestinians, and then the next day after their match, they went out without any police anywhere and began gathering metal pipes and attacking anyone they could find who looked Muslim or Arab, attacking taxi drivers.
He's explaining to you that there was an invasion. These people came, right, on a mission. Okay? It was an operation. Listen.
Until they were finally stopped and set upon by Dutch citizens who were local Muslim youth mostly, many of them of Moroccan background, and they were beaten and overwhelmed, and that was somehow characterized as a pogrom. Then the police gathered up this mob of hardcore hooligans who were clearly being led around using military style, like urban warfare tactics, and tried to escort them onto a bus rather than arresting them while they were attacking private Dutch property. Escorted them on a bus to their hotel, but before they got on the bus, and this is all on video, they started attacking Dutch private property again, stoning homes that were flying Palestinian flags in Amsterdam. None were, and we've learned that we've since learned 10 were arrested. The Dutch king, the Dutch leadership has said that they were the victims, the Israelis were the victims. Joe Biden, Chuck Schumer, even Ro Khanna, Justin Trudeau, they've all said these are victims of anti-Semitism, as has CNN, the New York Times, and Washington Post. And the New York Times was just forced to issue an extremely embarrassing correction where it acknowledged that a video in which it said that Jews were being chased by Muslim anti-Semites actually showed Israeli football hooligans chasing local people from Amsterdam. They just issued that correction. So again, the biggest media hoax, the biggest disinformation propaganda stunt that we've seen since Israel started to justify its genocide after October 7th. And where are the counter disinformation experts and the fact checkers to call this out? They're nowhere to be found.
Well, they're to be found on the gray zone thanks to you and the researchers of your team.
Ooh. Smoking. That's why this dude, okay, got to be a J. That's smoking. That right there, that analysis of I've been watching that. I'm going to end it right there, okay? I'm going to end it. So there you have it, okay? Now, when you put those two things together, right, where is this going, right? These dudes went out. That's his analysis of what happened in Amsterdam. Well, they're exporting the war. That's what he just explained. That was a military operation, okay? Where they're letting everybody know what. Went over this the other day. Job 9, right? This is the first thing we learned. Came out yesterday. Salakia. Job 9 and 24, the earth is given into the hand of the Lord. This is why this fool thinks he can go, right, from Israel to Amsterdam, start a whole bunch of shit and talk about, start taking down flags and raising his flag. You understand? Why? It's his world. The earth is given into the hand of, it's his world. Still, until Yahweh Shai comes and takes it. All right? Destroys this. All right? So he's right. He didn't do anything wrong. And he flipped it, used his media to say that they were the victims. And this guy pegged it as a whole operation. Okay? I don't know if we got to that part. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and end it right here. Sirach 5 and 15, be not ignorant of anything in a great matter or small. This has been going on for the last 3 days. Let me see. Hooligans right there. Chase might have. I think it started right here. I think it started right there. So this hooligans, and then this one here. So with that, we hope that the elect ratified you, brothers and sisters. Shalom.